Welcome back. Now we are going to learn how to write an equation of a line. So lots of times we're given an equation of a line, we have to do things with it. Now we're going to learn how to write one. Okay, so whenever you see the words write an equation or find an equation, instantly think of this formula. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. This is called the point slope formula. Okay? And it tells you everything you need to have to make this formula work. You need a point and you need a slope. Okay? One point and one slope. So, if I was given m equals 2, that's our slope, and I'm given a point of 0 minus 3, this point, this is my x sub 1 and my y sub 1, so the 2 will go right into here in the m, the x sub 1 will go right here, and the y sub 1 will go right here. So this is what we do. Y minus, now be very careful because our y is a negative 3. So this is minus a minus 3 equals 2 times x minus 0. So y, negative times a negative is a positive, equals 2x, and I don't really need the 0 because 2 times 0 is 0. All right, now, the first thing, whether the book says this or not, that I need you to do every time is put this equation into slope-intercept form. Remember, we just did that in the last video, which is, and you should be saying it, y equals mx plus b. So I need to subtract the 3 and it will come over here, and now I have m equals 2, and my y-intercept point is, remember the x-coordinate of a y-intercept point is always 0, and then the b, which is this, so, and its sign, remember that, negative 3. Okay, so the reason I need you to always start by putting it into slope-intercept form is so that we can graph it. Whether the book instructions tell you to graph it or not, I always want you to graph this. So we've got a slope of 2 and a y-intercept point of 0, negative 3. Let's graph this, okay? So make my nice axes here. Nice straight line. So get your ruler out. Okay. All right, make sure to put our arrows on everything. And label our x-axis and our y-axis. Okay, first thing I do is graph the y-intercept point. So that's 0, negative 3. So I do not go left to right because that's 0, and then I go down 3 because it's negative. So 1, 2, 3. Make that point, and then my slope is 2. Well, when I am thinking of this slope, okay, I have to think of it as 2 over 1. I need to turn it into a fraction. I would never write that as just an answer, but I need to think of it as y over x. So to turn any whole number into a fraction, I put it over 1. Okay? So what that means then is when we're graphing this is I start at the point I made. I'm going to go up 2 because it's 2 over 1 and they're both positive, and so then to the right 1, and there's my second point. And now I can graph this. And here's my pretty line, arrows, and then label my points. Must always put arrows on, and you must always label your points. Okay, and then this one, I go to the right 1, and then I'm going to go down, so I know that's negative, and that's 1. And there's the point, the label for that point. Okay? So, what if instead of a slope and a point, I was given 2 points and asked to write or find the equation of a line? Well, again, first thing you need to think about, y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. I have to have a point and a slope, a point and a slope. Well, do I have a point here? Actually, I have 2 of them, but I do not have a slope. So way over on this side of your paper, okay, to keep it out of the rest of your work, because I find if you put it in the rest of your work, then you're going to get yourself all mixed up. So let's come over here. We have 2 points we need to find a slope for. So we will use the slope formula. So remember what that is from a few videos ago? So let me just label these x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus y sub x sub 1, excuse me. Now, I just need to do the calculations here. So I get negative 2, and then I've got 1 plus 2 because negative times a negative is a positive. And so then I get negative 2 over 3. So what I want to do now is get rid of those. I'm going to write up here my slope is negative 2/3 and choose one of these points. I don't care which one. It doesn't matter. You'll come out with the same answer either way. Okay, so the first thing, now we've got our point, and our slope. So now we can put it into our point slope formula. So y minus y sub 1, which is 6 in this case, equals negative 2/3 times the quantity x minus 2, okay, because our x is a negative, okay? So y minus 6 equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. Now, first thing I want to do, guys, get rid of this denominator like we've been doing all semester long. So my LCM is 3. So I'm going to multiply 3 by every term equals 3 times negative 2/3 x plus 2. Okay, so these are gone. And now I've got 3y minus 18 equals negative 2 times x plus 2. Now I can distribute my negative 2 and keep going forward. So 3y minus 18 equals negative 2x minus 4. Now, as I said in our last example, first thing we need to do is put it into slope-intercept form. So first thing I want to do is add the 18 to both sides. So I get 3y equals negative 2x plus 14, because 18 minus 4 is 14, and we're adding 18 to both sides. And now I need to divide every term by 3 so I can get the y by itself. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 14/3. Okay, so now my slope is negative 2/3. Remember, right here, never the x, just the number in front of it. And if there's no number in front of it, then your slope is 1. And our y-intercept point is 0 because the x-coordinate in a y-intercept point is always 0, and then 14/3. Don't let the fractions freak you out. Remember, we just need to turn this into a mixed number. So 3 goes into 14 4 times. That's 12. So 2 left over, so that becomes our new numerator, and then the denominator always stays the same. So now we've got our slope is negative 2/3. Think about which way this line is going to go. Okay, now let's go ahead and graph this thing. Okay, so come on, stay up there. So do our, and let's see. I'll make this go down a little bit. Alrighty. Put our arrows and labels on everything. Okay, so first I'm going to graph our y-intercept point. So 0, I don't go left or right, and then up. Remember, it was 4 2/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that looks like about 2/3. And then our slope is negative 2/3. So I'm going to go down 2, starting at the point I just made. And remember, I'm not right on the cross places of the box. So 1, 2, and then I need to go to the right 3. So 1, 2, 3, and that's my second point. That didn't come out very good. There we go. And now I can graph my line and make my pretty arrows. Now, even though I graphed this at 4 2/3, I must label it as 14/3. Okay? Leave it in improper fraction form. Now let's see what this is, this other point. So I start at the origin and I go to the right, so that's going to be my x-coordinate, 1, 2, 3. And so that's positive, and I'm going to go up, so that's also positive, and then I'm going to go up 1, 2, and 2/3. So let's come back here real quick and figure out 2 2/3. If I need that is a improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 6. That's my excuse me, never mind. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 2 is 8. That's my new numerator. And 3 is my denominator. Denominator always stays the same. And so that's what I label it as, 8/3. And I'm done. Now let's go back here. Now I said both times we want to always do this first to put it into slope-intercept form. And then you go, after you've graphed it, and I really would like you to do that no matter what the directions say. So after you've graphed it, then go back and look at the instructions. If the instructions say put it in slope-intercept form, then you're already done. You've got it right here. Just write that down. If it says, however, put it in standard form, remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. And then come back here to this guy, so I'll rewrite him, and now we'll rewrite this in standard form. So I have to have my x and y on the left side and everything else on the other side. So this guy I'm going to add to both sides, and then this guy I will add to both sides. So then I get 2x plus 3y equals 14, and now it's in standard form, and that's what you would write for the final answer. But remember one thing about the a in standard form. A can never be negative, and a cannot have a denominator. Well, if you got rid of your denominator up here, right here, like we did, then you never have to worry about that. But you might once in a while have to worry about the negative. Now again, when you're first reading the directions, do not look at the words that say put it in standard form or put it in slope-intercept form. Ignore that until the very end. What you need to think about at the very beginning is point-slope formula. Now I'm not done, so be sure to watch the next video where I'll finish this up. And where Where'd you go?